Stopping an opponent from tying you up is the most important clinch lesson if you're a small pressure fighter. When someone tries to clinch you, time is of the essence. But if you understand the system and read the situation correctly, you'll stay free and on the offensive for when you fight. Some of our examples are general tactics, others are specific techniques, but in all cases, it's important to react quickly when someone is attempting to clinch you. Once they tie up both arms or break your posture, escape becomes much more challenging. Let's begin the lesson with 4 tactics to fend off a clinching opponent. Helping me today will be our competitor, Antonio. Our first tactic for shutting down the clinch is kind of a silly one, but it's true, and this is just to unload absolute, unyielding, extreme violence on your opponent. If they're taking their hand off their face to reach for you, then they are undefended. And frequently, disincentivizing an attack can be better in the long term than defending it in the short term. Or as the old timers say, a good offense is a good defense. Our next tactic to avoid being clinched or tied up is to maintain distance and to stay offline. You should have ground at your back. You should be able to punch moving backwards, and you should know how to angle away from an attack if you want to be an effective boxer. You can see this on display in almost an exaggerated fashion when you see strikers in MMA using their movement to shut down somebody trying to take them down. Look at Jose Aldo or Frankie Edgar as excellent examples. Breaking contact with an opponent is our next tactic to stop them from clinching you. Don't let them have forearm contact, elbow contact, head contact, bump under an elbow, push an arm across, and exit offline. Try to be the matador. Framing is our next tactic to stop the clinch, putting something solid and incollapsible in between you and your opponent. You can use your forearm, you can use your elbow, or your head, because your opponent isn't going to be able to break your arm or squish your head. They're not the mountain from Game of Thrones. What you want to avoid doing is using your hands, because the person will be able to flatten them out. You don't want to fight muscle with muscle. You want to be smarter and use something solid, almost like a kickstand on a bike. Moving on from tactics to some specific clinch techniques to escape specific clinch attempts. Let's begin with escaping the headlock. It's really important when you're in the headlock that you don't allow your posture to be folded down. When your back is a long lever like this, your opponent's going to hang their weight on you and fry out your back. If all those muscles in your back get tired, you're not going to be able to punch hard, you're not going to be able to move reactively. So the paramount, most important thing for you to do when somebody has that headlock is to walk your hips under you, stack your back, and stand up nice and tall. They're either going to get lifted up with you, like Canelo did to Bivol, or they're going to release this grip. Our next technique is denying somebody overhooks or underhooks by framing on them and breaking their posture. It's really important to remember when somebody establishes an overhook on you that you have an underhook on them and vice versa. This is a 50-50 position, and whoever wins this exchange is going to come down to if your opponent can tie up your far arm or if you can frame on their head first. So, if my opponent has an overhook on me, it's important to remember that my arm's not just hanging here like a noodle. I have an underhook on them. This is a 50-50 position. If he ties up my other arm, then he gets the clinch. But if I can establish control of his head and break his posture first, then I can shut him down and stop him from tying me up. If we look at the details of this position, he has the overhook. I clamp in tightly. I frame with my forearm on his neck. I think about my left hand here like it's arm wrestling. I lift my elbow and I press my hand down and I bring his head along for the ride. And if I really want to lock this position in, I'm going to lock my elbow and post up so that he's down low and I can walk him into a worse macro position in the ring. If my opponent has an underhook, then I have an overhook. And once again, the person who's going to win this exchange is who can either establish control of the arm, my opponent trying to clinch, or the head, me trying to break their posture first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp on to that overhook. I'm going to frame on the neck of my opponent, and I'm going to try to separate that glove and that head as far apart as possible. I'm pulling this person's arm, shoulder, and neck into the worst mechanical position I can so that I can walk them to a worse macro position in the ring and so that they're no threat to me. So if Antonio's got the underhook, that means that I've got the overhook. And once again, I don't want this arm unaccounted for. I want to squeeze this in here tightly. From here, I need to get my glove up on my opponent's neck, and then what I want to do is I want to separate their head and their glove as far apart as I can. So I drive my right hand forward and I slide my left arm down his arm so it catches at his glove. I'm trying to force his head and his arm as far apart as possible, and I'm trying to break his posture so that he can't hit me and so that I can walk him to a worse macro position in the ring. When denying overhooks and underhooks in a boxing situation, it's important to remember that you don't want to release this position until you've walked your opponents onto the ropes or into a corner. It's also important to remember that the second you release this position, you want to be the one on the attack. In the boxing rule set, you're not allowed to hit the person's head when it's down and being held by your arm, but you can walk them into a worse position, release them, and then get first jump on them when you enter that exchange. Now, all of this is under the contingency of listening to the ref. Remember, no matter what the rules say in boxing, the ref is responsible for how those rules are implemented and expressed in a match. If the ref says clean break, I don't care how hard you worked for this position, you gotta let it go and you gotta reset. Let's talk about a classic veteran trick for dealing with clinches and tie-ups in boxing. With this, you're not fighting the clinch, you're not using any energy, you're just taking a knee. This is a wonderful decision because, like I said, it takes no effort and it makes your opponent look bad. It looks like they're pushing you to the ground, which is going to win you the judges and make them look like a heel. The biggest downside of this is that it's pretty sporty and is not something that you would be able to use in an MMA application or certainly not in a street application. This segues really nicely into our final lesson, which is escaping the full tie-up. When I am in a boxing situation and I get completely locked up, the ref is there to break me, all right, to release me from that situation. But when I'm in a street fighting situation or in an MMA context, the ref isn't there to help me, and I'm going to show you how to separate out from somebody who has established control of both of your arms. So when you're breaking this full lockdown, this full clinch, whether it's double overhooks or double underhooks, you need to drop your weight down to create space, get your head in to frame, focus on one arm at a time. Don't put that head in their chest, commit to a shoulder. Create enough space so you can get your elbow out, and you can use that elbow to slide your whole hand out and then fall back on any of our previous techniques to free up the other arm. It's the opposite order of operations, working from hand to elbow to head, when you're trying to create opportunities for punching and offense when you're fighting on the inside, but that's a video for another day. Mastery of these anti-clinching techniques gives you an uninterrupted, unhindered path to success, takes tools away from your opponent, and gives you a clearer path to victory for when you fight. Some of our examples are general tactics, others are specific techniques, but in all cases it's important to react quickly when somebody has a clenching